All right, everybody. Welcome to this live broadcast. We have 1 minute and 45 seconds until we get started. So do me a favor. Number one, please, guys, share this video. Share this video to anybody that you know right now who needs to know about what it means to be resilient. Okay. I'm telling you guys, this is going to be a great conversation. And literally, that's every single one of us, right? We know that we have been through some stuff. So honey, you do not want to miss today's show. So make sure you go ahead and share this show. Also tag a couple of people. And if you're watching this on YouTube, go ahead and give this a thumbs up. Please give this a thumbs up. So we're going to get started, guys, in 1 minute and 5 seconds. The final thing that I want to ask for you guys to do, because I definitely love to look at the comments. We do our best to go back and look through all the comments, whether you're on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, all of those different platforms, and let us know what city and state you're chiming in from. Now, if you are in a Facebook group, also include your name because sometimes we might not be able to see it. But make sure if you are watching this, go ahead and let us know what city and state or country that you are chiming in from. Give us the goods. What's good in the hood? All right, y'all. So we have about 27 seconds left and we're going to go get started with this amazing show. I'm so excited. As you can see, guys, we have our guest, Tiran Jackson. He is an author all-star, a part of the Book Prophets Club. Y'all, in this interview, I promise you it's going to be fire. All right. So go ahead and put your city and state or country in the chat and let's get this party started. Hey, what's going on, everybody? To Real Vision Avant. And yes, honey, you see what it said. We are helping authors get the bag. And tonight we have another amazing author all-star that you guys are going to get a chance to meet. You want to make sure, guys, if you haven't already done so, go ahead and put in the chat space right now. We're looking at the comments. Let us know what city and state that you guys are chiming in from or country, because yes, darling, we have expanded internationally. I mean, in fact, you know, we're going to be going to Italy this year, the Book Prophets Club. We have some of our BPC members going to Italy to speak. We're also talking about going back to South Africa to speak. And so we want to shout out everybody, y'all. We're not just a US based company. We are internationally, baby. Okay. Yes. Okay. But anyways, y'all, listen, I am so excited because our guest speaker is just doing some tremendous things. And as you know, this show right here, Wealthy Wednesdays, what we do is we have conversations that are not just about finances. When we say wealthy, we're not just talking about money wealthy or financially wealthy, because honestly, in order to get financially wealthy, you also have to be wealthy in different areas of your life. We're talking about mind, body, and soul. And so we bring on amazing authors that are using their books and leveraging their books to impact this world. They're speakers, they're coaches, they're doing some incredible things. So without further ado, I want to go ahead and bring on so you guys can see our guest speaker. And as you can see, y'all, his name is Tiran Jackson. And Tiran Jackson is a speaker, a life coach, author, and entrepreneur, which y'all has dealt with tragedy, trauma, and loss. If anybody has ever dealt with any kind of tragedy, trauma, or loss, I want you to go ahead and type that in the chat. Just type tragedy, trauma, loss, or type all. Y'all, he's been able to use that, though, as a means to help others to overcome the setbacks that they have encountered. His incredible transformation has led him to rediscovering the authentic, vulnerable version of himself and profound purpose, inspiring others to find their path in life. He serves as a coach to help others find their resiliency, courage, and strength facing adversity. Y'all, let's give it up for none other than author, speaker, and coach, Tiran Jackson in the house. Hey.
Hey, Maria. Hey, everybody out there. I hope everybody's doing great tonight.
Oh
But
man,
let me
listen, fired up, fired up. I mean, the chat is going off the hook, so I know that everybody is excited to hear about you. And Tyron, we just gave everybody your professional bio, right? So if you
right.
could, for all of the individuals, maybe this is their first time hearing of you, or some of you have heard your story and they're just back for some more. Could you let them know a little bit about yourself and how did we get here today with your book and what you're doing for the community?
So how did I get here? That is a long, complicated story. But anyway, I'm going to make it pretty simple. First off, I grew up in the South. I grew up in Alabama. I was born raised in the country. Did a couple things growing up. I was an athlete, wanted to be an engineer, went to college at Tennessee State University, thought I was going to be a mechanical engineer for all of my life. While I was at Tennessee State University, I met this young lady who would later become my wife. Her name was Malika, and we met as we were getting ready to get out of school, and we're feeling each other, wanted to go forward with life together. So as we were moving forward, I started working as an engineer at Rolls Royce and moved to Indiana, and we moved together. And a couple years later, we got married, had our first son, and were able to really start our life. At that point in time, I didn't know what the future held, but I thought we were going to be together forever. Time went on, years passed by. We began to move deeper and deeper in our careers. We had our son, started to grow, and watch him grow up as a part of our family and had our circle, the three of us together, that we were doing things. After about 8 years or so, we moved from Indiana to Atlanta, and we wanted to get back closer to family. She was from Tennessee, I was from Alabama. We didn't want our son to grow up without being around his cousins and his family. Didn't want to be too close to where we grew up, but close enough where we could stop by and see people when we wanted to. So came to Atlanta. I continued working as an engineering manager and doing different things for years. And we were moving on, having us a happy life, a wonderful life, enjoying what we had together. As we were getting ready to lead up to what was supposed to be a momentous situation and occasion, we were getting ready to have our 15th wedding anniversary. And we decided that we would, do something a little different. We travel quite a bit, but we thought we'd take a trip to the Bahamas and celebrate and get away from everything. Right before our anniversary, Malika had just gotten promoted to being a director for a big company, HR director. So we were getting ready to celebrate that. I was doing big things with my job. I thought that we were going to be able to celebrate this wonderful time together to connect for a couple of days and then get back on to our routine life. The day before we went on this trip, I dropped my son off. He was 12 years old at the time to stay with his aunt and uncle, and told him I'll be back next week to pick you up. And then that next day, we went to the Bahamas and started our trip. First 2 days were great. We got to have us a good time. We got to have some fruity drinks, some time at the beach, take some amazing pictures, just enjoy being on vacation and being relaxed and being with each other. The third day of that trip, we thought we were going to do something adventurous. We thought we were going to get on a small tour boat, leave the resort, ride on this short excursion, and be able to see more of the island. And didn't think, like I said, anything of it. People do this all the time. And this was no different. I remember getting up that morning and us getting to the marina and seeing, the beautiful, just the beautiful scenery, and looking forward and being excited to what this day was going to bring. It seemed almost like a perfect morning, a perfect day. And as we took off from that dock, I didn't realize that my life was going to change forever. 5 minutes into the ride, the boat exploded. And I found myself coming to, waking up on the surface of this boat. There was a fuel leak right under where we were sitting. And as a result of that, the boat, as I stated, exploded, and it threw Malika out in one direction off the boat. For me, it threw me in a different direction. I was still on that boat. When I finally came to, I tried to pull myself away from the flames, but I passed out again. And just to fast forward through things, I was rescued from the boat by a second boat, passengers on that boat, and they took me to a clinic. And when I went to this clinic, Malika was there, and I could hear her in agony as I was being wheeled in on a stretcher. The one doctor there told me that they're going to send me to a good hospital and that she was going to come later. They get me to this hospital, put me in emergency surgery. I wake up and I ask, "Where's my wife?" And the doctors say, "Look at each other." And they don't answer me and they leave. And then they come back in and they tell me, Mr. Jackson, we hate to inform you, but your wife is no longer here. That she died at that clinic. And here I am thinking this was supposed to be paradise. We're on vacation. And just like that, life has changed completely. And I didn't know how to process it. The next day, I had to call our son, who I dropped off with his uncle, and he was having the time of his life with his cousins. I had to tell him over the phone, son, the mom's not coming home. But having to hear him on the other side, his agony, his disbelief as a father was a very, very, very painful thing to have to endure. And as I was still there in that hospital, after I spoke to him, I realized my health was starting to fade. And I could see the EKG monitor that was over my head, and I saw all of my vitals go from green to yellow to red. And I'm sitting there and I'm praying to God and I'm saying, Lord, you already taken my wife. I've already had to break my son's heart by telling him she wasn't coming back home. And now I'm about to die as well. So I was in a true space, a true place of being in despair. I was broken physically. Emotionally, my heart was broken. Spiritually, I'm mad at God for this having to happen. And mentally, I don't know how to process all of this. And so I thought I was going to close my eyes that night and never wake up again. Now, I fast forward a little bit more. A couple days later, I've been taken away from the Bahamas and received by a grade A trauma unit in Florida, where they had to put me through multiple surgeries just to try to save my life and get me stable again. But there was a point after I went through multiple surgeries where, as I was praying to God and trying to process and understand what's happened, God talked to me and he told me, Tiran, I could have taken you when that boat exploded. I could have taken you when you were in that hospital and all your vitals went from green to red. I could have taken you after you went through all these surgeries and you were still unstable. But I'm keeping you here for a reason. And the message that I want you to remember and keep in mind is that the battles that you faced already are nothing compared to the battles that are here to come. And my word to you is to be resilient. Be resilient. Don't just survive, but thrive from everything that you're going to encounter. And so that started it. That started the process. My life before, it was gone. It was no more. But for me to be able to take that situation and to be able to make the most out of what was still left to come with my life, it required me to be resilient. And that's where the start of my transformation. And my platform is called Reborn Resilient. I was literally reborn that day that boat exploded. So just going into that, I went through a tremendous change from an emotional, from a mental, from a perspective on life standpoint than who I was before. I ended up having to learn so much about myself, being vulnerable, digging into what really drove me, had to truly, we talk about trying to understand ourselves to the core, but I was broken to a point where I had to be put back together and had to get that level of understanding just to be able to function. And so anyway, that's how it started. But this has been 4 years ago, and I've come a long way. And the transformation that I've made, I help others who are going through similar situations. And I don't want to make it seem as if, everybody's pain has to be as traumatic as that. However, it's relative to how it affects us. And if it's something that's holding you, hurting you, keeping you in a bad place, then some of the same steps can apply to help like make life better for you. So that was the start, Taria. That's when things changed, and that's when I was literally reborn and reborn in a resilient fashion.
I find a lot of times, Tyran, when things in our life do change, when we have what I like, those I mean, I didn't create it, calling it the paradigm shift, but when we have those paradigm shifts, the ironic thing about it is they typically happen either in some of the greatest moments of our life, but for most people, it's in the worst moments of our life, right? In moments of loss. And the great thing about being able to come back from that is that, just like what you're doing today, you can help other people to overcome the experiences that they're experiencing today and not sure how they're going to get through it. And like you said, 4 years you've gone through this and completely have been in a position where you've found love. You've been able to really take yourself up and really position yourself in a space where people wouldn't even know, just looking at you, what you've been through. And I think that's super powerful. What made you decide that you wanted to now go from, I think I heard you say you was an engineer at Rolls Royce. I heard Rolls Royce. I
Yep,
heard
you heard
Rolls
right.
Royce. Okay.
Yep.
It sounds like some money. But you went from being in that space, engineer, this is a prestigious position, to now saying, you know what? Nope. I want to now get into the space where I can coach other individuals who are going through these traumatic experiences. What made you decide, like, that's what I want to do?
Ooh, well, we're gonna get deep here a little bit, and I don't want to put my faith or spirit into everything and everybody, but I'll put it like this.
Oh, no, no, no.
I-
You can put your faith and your spirit over here
okay,
because, honey, we believers.
okay,
Okay, go on.
all right, good, good. We believers, we all have our relationship with God. God told me that I was not gonna go back to being an engineer. He said that I was not gonna go back and live anything like the life I had before. When I was in that hospital bed, remember it clear as day. It was July the 5th, 2018. And I was trying to, as I said, process what it was going to be. He didn't make it clear where my purpose was going to be and where I was going to go, but he did make it clear what I wasn't going to go back to doing. And that wasn't just from a career standpoint, but that was also from just the way that I operated in the world, my level of empathy and appreciation for certain things in life. There are things that we take for granted, and I was taking things for granted in certain aspects of my life, but needed to value more going forward. I talk to people about how, you know, your mindset and your belief in yourself is something that is so powerful and something that you need to have in order to be successful. And I will say that I might have been okay before, and even as I was going through this journey, I was really struggling from a confidence, from a self belief. My doubt was great. My fear and uncertainty, anxiety for everything to come wasn't there, but it had to be rebuilt. And sometimes the best things created have to be broken for them to be put together. And I realized that was me. That was part of what the reason for me going through what I went through. So, I wish I could say that it was always my vision to be able to touch and impact lives in the way that I'm doing now. And that what happened was a catalyst to do that. But no, I had no intention on doing that. I was specifically chosen by God to move in a different path. And, as I was starting to heal emotionally and heal physically, and it's starting to be seen by other people, it started to create a path and a route for me to be able to do this and truly make a difference in other people's lives. So, like I said, it was God who told me I needed to do something different. And I know a lot of people use, God tell you a lot of things. Now it's up to you to go for it and do it, but he painted a picture for me. He said, Tyran, you need to go down this different path, because what he made clear was going from where I came from was not going to be where I was going to be in the future.
Absolutely.
So,
I love it.
yeah.
Okay, well, thank you for sharing that. And, I think also that it's important for people to understand too, just because God told you to doesn't mean that it's automatically easy. So,
Right.
going from a space of being an engineer where you are very, very crossing the T's, dotting the I's, it's got to be perfect, it's got to be sound, to now going into something totally different. Coach, if we think about it, kind of similar, because I have an IT background. And so, you don't really do a lot of public speaking, and, where people pouring their feelings onto you. And now you're in a totally different space. Real quick, we're gonna do a quick commercial, but when we come back, what I want you to share, Tyran, are going to be three tips. Three tips. If anybody is looking for someone that can help them, maybe they're overcoming the loss of a loved one or overcoming the loss of something with even in themselves, and they're trying to reclaim that and build that resiliency. I'm gonna come back to you, and I want you to share with us what are some tips that you're gonna share. So we're gonna go ahead real quick and go to a quick commercial. We have Tiran Jackson here, y'all, and I'm telling you, this conversation is good. Please, in the chat, type some stuff that you're getting from him. But real quick, I'm gonna play this good commercial, and we're gonna be right back. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Taria Vision Avant here, and listen, real quick, I am here to serve speakers, coaches, network marketers that are authors, or you're working on your book to help grow your business. Did you know that 80% of most authors, regardless of what they do, are making less than $10,000 a year? Yes, so that means speakers, 80% of them making less than $10,000. Coaches, 80% of them. Network marketers, 80% of them are making less than $10,000 a year. Well, that's where I come into play. My goal is to show you how to leverage your book and build a business that generates $10,000 a month, week, or day. Register for my free masterclass, my 10K master plan, by going to www.10kbook.com. 15 to 30 minutes of action-packed information. Seriously, you don't want to miss it. Register right now. Go to 10kbook.com. Get access to this masterclass. It's going to change your life. And I got a little bonus for you at the end. All right, let's get back to this interview. All right, y'all. So listen, make sure y'all register for that masterclass, okay? Don't play with your girl. But you know what? And another great thing about Tyran, he's a part of Book Profits Club. We'll talk a little bit about that in a minute. But he is also an author, and so he'll talk a little bit about what you can expect with his book. But I asked him, I said, Tyran, before we go on this break, I need to get 3 tips. So what are your 3 tips for anyone listening right now who's like, okay, this resiliency sound good, but I need a little help. Hook me up.
So I have a definition of resilience that I like to share with people because I want them to understand what it means to be able to move forward from this. And I say resilience is not regaining what was lost, but it's reshaping what remains. And so from that perspective, one of the keys that I think is important that you need to be mindful of is when we're losing something, we're all going to go through this state of grief. We're going to be hurt and saddened, and we're going to be feeling the pain of that emotional, that physical loss, or whatever it is that we had and we held on to for some time. However, the point is to get to a place of acceptance, because the grief holds us in place and it keeps us stuck. If we can get to a place of acceptance, then it makes it easier to be able to look ahead and move forward. So sit in your grief while you need to. However, be mindful that you need to make steps and progress every day in order to get to a place where you can accept the reality of what's happened, process it, and not let it hold you in a place where you can't move forward. So that's the first step that I want to tell people. Second thing I want to tell people, when you're trying to deal with something difficult, something challenging, something hard. Now, I believe that there is a thing about getting help and support from others. However, you have to be mindful that you're getting the right help. Now, we all got friends, family, and followers. We got all these people in our lives. Some people aren't qualified to be able to help you get out of the situation you're in. So you need to question how much time you're giving to them and you're valuing what they're telling you. You might need to think about the source of some of the input that you're getting. And I say from that, be willing and able to discern that advice and figure out how you're going to apply it to yourself. Because ultimately, you're the one that's going to have to make the decisions and make the moves in order to get out of the situation that you may be dealing with. But be careful of all of the advice that comes your way and try to have it centered on the right advice for you and your situation. The third thing that I want to say is that sometimes when we find ourselves in a place where we really are struggling, we are not clear as to what we need to do. We operate in a true state of confusion. And the most important thing that I can say when you have so many different things going on is try to identify and figure out what the one most important thing for you to do and focus on that. For me, there was a period of time where I had to focus on getting myself physically back to a place where I could walk again. And I had to do that if I wanted to be there for my son and be able to move forward. Emotionally, mentally, I was still screwed up. But at that point in time, it wasn't the most important thing for me. And I knew I had to regain some strength to be able to eventually get to where I could use crutches and then get to a point where I could get a prosthetic and actually walk. And then from there, I was able to take that next step into what the most important thing was. But I think oftentimes people get tied into too many different things and they end up running on a treadmill and not making any progress. So I would say spend the time to focus on what that one most important thing is. Write it down. Have it somewhere where you see it every day. And then make sure that you're taking actions in order to get further along on making that one thing a real thing.
Well, first of all, I wanted to hit the horn when I said when you said listen to other people because and the thing is, Tyran, that I've come to learn a lot of times people don't necessarily tell us certain things because they don't care. They do care, but a lot of times, like you said, they may not understand exactly how to teach you how to overcome these things. And so, if we're going to listen to anybody, which I know, you're going to give a plug in a minute, they need to be listening to someone who can help them, who's done that, right? So, I can't wait for you to share what it is that you have. But I noticed that you had something over there behind you and your shoulder. Now, I do see a John C. Maxwell book, hello, but I also see a Born Resilient book, right? Hold on, what's the title? I'll be messing up the title.
Choosing resilience.
Choosing resilience, right? So choosing resilience. Tell us about your book, because you got to put that up there on the screen so we can learn a little bit about it and how can we get it.
Well, before I talk about that book, two things I want to talk about first. Two other books I got right here. I want you to see this. This is a book called "Don't Go Broke: Why Trying to Be a Business Owner." Good book by a great author, Miss Taria Vision Avant. And then a second book is that I value, that I think is important, is A Six-Figure Vision. So it goes into some things about being an author that I think help you keep from being struggling. So with that, now I'll go ahead and grab this book, Choosing Resilience, Choosing Resilience, Choosing Resilience. That is my book where I not only share my story, but I also share a couple of key things that help you make that decision. Because, and we were talking about this a little bit earlier, when God presents opportunities, you have a decision to make. You have a choice. And sometimes we find ourselves just letting life happen to us. And we don't take that time to make that decision and choose which route we want to go in. And we find ourselves in a position where, yeah, we let fate determine what happens in our future. And so it was clear to me, as I said, that God told me to be resilient. But just because he told me didn't mean that I had to do it. But it was when I took the power in my control to choose to follow that lead and to be resilient. That was the start of this tremendous journey of recovery that I went down. So, as I said, Choosing Resilience, it is a phenomenal, great book. And look, I feel like you learn a lot, not just about me and my story, but you also learn tips that you can apply to yourself in order to be resilient in the challenges and battles that you face. And you get a stronger perspective on what resiliency really is and can be able to put it in your life. So that's
Good. Y'all don't worry. We're going to let you know how you can get a copy. I know y'all like, well, we got to go. What can we do? We need it. The copy, the cover, the book is amazing. I have bought several copies of that book and had given it away, guys. And people have just definitely reached back out like, amazing book, amazing testimony. This person, I've got to connect with him. And so now you're also a part of the Book Prophets Club. And so, I got to shout out. And by the way, thank you for shouting out those amazing books. Yes, yes, yes. But tell us, why is it that you are a part of the Book Prophets Club family? What has been the benefit with being a part of us and being up in the group?
so I like to go back and use some of the things that I said earlier through here. And one of the things that I pointed out was sometimes you get advice from people, but it's not the right advice. And then there are other times where you make the right decision and you do get the right guidance and the right advice in order to be successful. We all want to take take our journey and our path to be successful in whatever our endeavors may be. And as I knew that, and let me tell you, I'll be the first to tell people I never had any intentions on being an author. But if I was going to write a book, who better to follow to understand how to make that book be successful than to follow Book Profits Club? And so when I first heard of Book Profits Club and Taria and some of the amazing things that you were doing to help authors not go broke, be able to not only get their books out to the people who need to see them, but also be able to make a business and be able to use it to expand into other areas, it didn't take me long to say this is where I need to be. And then on top of that, getting instruction and guidance on how to make your book be not only great, but amazing is one thing, but to be in a community of people, of other authors from other areas with other messages and see how they're doing things, that gives an additional sense of learning and understanding on how I can apply things to myself. And plus, it's good to be able to see other people successful with what they're learning. And so I think not only through the information that you share through Book Profits Club, but also the lessons and information that come from everybody else in the community, it makes it one of the most amazing groups and communities to be a part of if you're an author.
Oh, well, thank you so very much. I appreciate it.
No
And
problem.
listen, now what I want to make sure that we do, and I know we have a lot of BPC members right now in the chat, which, by the way, they are always in the chat supporting. So shout out to BPC in the house. Hold on, we got to give you a horn. So listen, I know that people want to know how to get in touch with you and be able to get everything that you have. You know, having the right person to help you when you are in those challenges, those setbacks, the trauma, the loss. Guys, it is so important that you have the right person who can understand what your journey is. So real quick, tell everybody what you got for them. How can they get it? You know, what's good.
So first thing, if you want to be able to get a free gift from me and be able to get 3 steps to help you overcome any challenge in life, well, then I want you to visit rebornresilient.info. You hear me out. Rebornresilient.info. There you can go to my site and you can get a free download that'll help you get past the challenges, at least give you the initial steps you need to take to get past the challenges that you face in your life. If you want to get in touch with me as well, you can also go to rebornresilient.com. On rebornresilient.com, you can find out more about me, some of my speaking engagements, and you can order a copy of this book right here, Choosing Resilience. So you can find that there as well, and some of the other events and amazing activities that I'm trying to create and being a part of here throughout the country. Lastly, if you just want to get the book and you don't want to go through all that, then go to choosingresilience.net. Once again, that's choosingresilience.net, and you can get a copy of the book there. But if you want to find me on any of the platforms, my name, Tiran Jackson, you look that up, you'll find it. Or look up Reborn Resilient through Instagram, Facebook. You'll be able to find me and get in touch with me.
Listen, Tyran has been on so many major platforms, guys. His story has been shared to so many outlets all over the world. So make sure that you get in touch with Tyran. I'm going to bring him on one more time to share his last imparting word with you guys. But make sure that you go and check him out. Get a copy of his book. Get the download. Because what's going to happen is when you join his community, guys, and you get a part of the community, you're going to be able to get some additional tips and nuggets and things like that from him. And you don't want to be out here by yourself. So if you know someone, you say, you know what, you heard that story, and you know that you have someone that can relate, someone that can, be able to get some kind of value from that. Specifically, I remember when I lost my father and, where my life was, and then, losing that person and then losing another person. And it was like, oh Lord, I don't really know how to handle this. I wish I would have had a person like Tyran to help me in that situation. So make sure that you guys definitely reach out to him. And I'm going to bring him back on one more time to share his last imparting words with you guys, and we will be wrapping up. So Tyran, anything that you want to say to the folks right now listening in that need a powerful word from you? Go ahead. The floor is yours.
So let me ask you guys this. Have you gone through a situation, a challenge, an obstacle, that you didn't know how you were going to get out of? Everybody should be raising their hand because there has to be something that we face. And if you haven't faced it yet, the adversity is on its way. Well, I just want to let you know that if you want to hear and want to learn from somebody who's experienced, it's a lot easier to learn from those who've experienced this level of trauma, tragedy, and gone through some type of transition in life and been able to come out the other side as a better version of themselves and been able to find success in different ways and really been able to touch and impact people throughout the world. And if you want to do the same, you need to get in touch with me. Like I said earlier, I feel as though resilience is something that we all have, and it's something that we need if we want to not only try to get past what happened to us, but be successful and thrive as we move forward for what's ahead. So, look, it's not the adversity, it's your reaction to the adversity of life that determines your life story. Well, I'm writing my life story, but my life story is getting better and better every day. And I want to help you out there. If this is you, if you this resonates in some way, then let's work on writing your life story together and making it have the outcome that you desire. Check me out at rebornresilient.info, get the free gift, and then jump over to rebornresilient.com, and then we'll set up some time to have a discussion, talk, and learn more to see if there's a way that I can help you.
rebornresilient.info, y'all. Go over there right now. If you can, somebody right now, put that in the chat. Rebornresilientinfo. Lord, I'm messing it all up. Rebornresilient.info as well as .com. Make sure you guys go over to the chat right now. Go into the chat and type that in so that everybody can get that. Go and get it. Soon as you go ahead and get it, come back to this video and leave a comment and let us know, hey, got my download, right? So that we can know that you've got that. We love to reward it. We might, I don't know, might do something special for somebody who has taken action. You can never have a harvest without planting the seed, but the challenge in the planting is that you actually have to take action. So it takes work to get a harvest, all right? My name is Taria Vision Avant, and listen, if you are interested in being a part of this incredible family, what you want to do is, of course, make sure you register to get my free masterclass where we teach you, whether you're a future author or a current author, how to generate over $10,000 with your book. Okay, like listen, with your book, leveraging your book. Just register for the free masterclass. All right, listen, it's been a privilege and a pleasure, and I hope to see you guys on next Wednesday for Wealthy Wednesdays, darling. Okay, I'm gonna holler at you later. All right, but y'all have an amazing time, and y'all make sure y'all share this video. All right, I ain't playing with you now. Share the video.